everybody, welcome to the channel. My name is Lindsay and this is Life with Lindsay. Today we have a WIP Chat. If you do not know what a WIP Chat is, that is when I work on my current WIP, WIP, which is work in progress. You can pull up whatever it is that you are working on and work alongside with me. You can have this while you are doing chores, you know, the dreaded laundry, doing the dishes, while you're doing anything around the house, while you're driving, while you're at work, while you're pretending to work, whatever it is that you want to be doing. There is no right way or wrong way to WIP Chat. So, hi. If you are new here, my name is Lindsay. I do mainly diamond painting and some other crafting related content, and I would love for you to like, subscribe, hit the bell, hop aboard that hot mess express. Let's all be friends. So, if you've been here before, hi, welcome. And the reason I'm already laughing is because this is my first WIP Chat of 2023. Yay! That's not why I'm laughing. I'm laughing because this is literally the first WIP Chat that I have filmed since before I went to Disney, which, if you are new here, that last WIP Chat was filmed in November. If you're watching this in current time, it is the first week of January, I think. I don't even know what day it is anymore. But if you guys are here because of Alice in Winter Wonderland, I'm going to chat with you guys while I'm working up what I'm doing over here. This is... Okay, let's rewind before I get super into what I'm doing here. I have to change the wax on that. I knew that before I sat down, but yet I still didn't do it. That's the worst feeling ever. You have to change the wax in, like, multiple pens, and you're like, oh, I don't want to do it. I also am now realizing I don't see a lot of wax out on my desk, which is slightly daunting. I mean, I have a ton. Anyway, I'm just rambling at this point. Let me find some wax. I'll be right back. It was literally right in front of me. Anyway, hi. Let's start from the beginning, shall we? If you guys are here because you are participating on Alice in Winter Wonderland, welcome. I'm so excited that you're here. I'm doing a dance for you. So the way this works is if I put up a WIP Chat during the time of the event, which, if you don't know about the event, you'd like more information, I will leave the latest event announcement video up in the eye. This is my third annual, which is insane to me to think that. But it is my third annual Alice in Winter Wonderland, which is a diamond painting event that I host over on Instagram. It is for anybody who loves Alice. I love Alice, who loves Alice artwork, or who just wants to participate and learn more about people in the community with you. For me, oh, did I just put that right in the glue? For me, I started the event because I had a lot of Alice in Wonderland images, and I was like, well, I need a really good excuse to work on them, like a bunch of them, and maybe I'll find other people who like Alice in Wonderland as much as I do, and I have. You guys have been coming out in droves. I do event videos, which I'll get into in a second. Don't mind me, I'm just struggling over here with my wax. Per usual, I'm struggling. I am definitely aboard the struggle bus. Alright, I think we should be good. Anyway, so in these WIP Chat videos that I do during the event, I will put up what I call little Easter eggs. It might be a little GIF or an image or whatever it may be. It is only for a snippet of time. It is not something that is up on the screen for an extended period of time. It is literally something that'll be on the screen for a fraction of a second or, 2 seconds, something like that. If you are the first person to find it in the video, send me a screenshot. All of my information is down below. You can send it to my Instagram, preferably, and or I have email listed down below as well. And the first person to do so becomes my featured account for my event recap videos. So I do these videos. I have to figure out a good schedule for them for this time around because my 1 week mark also falls on the same day that I would be filming my WIP Chats. So I need the WIP Chats to go up first so that you guys have an opportunity to find those Easter eggs so that you can be part of the featured accounts. And what does that mean if you're a featured account? Again, none of this is necessary. This is all just ways that I utilize my platform to help grow and connect people in the community. For me, I love being able to learn about other crafters that I haven't met, or small shops that I don't know about, or that I do know about and I love, you know, things like that. So the featured account, you get showcased in the beginning of the event recap videos, which everybody loves because they are the slideshows. They show off all of your works in progress, and it's just a lot of fun. A lot of people really have been enjoying those slideshows for the last couple of years. And I see other event people doing them as well now, and it was just something that it gave me an opportunity to just share and give back with you guys. And so if you become the featured account, you can use that time to showcase your small business that you own, or your Instagram account if you want people to come and follow you, or whatever it may be. And it's given people a lot of opportunities to meet people they otherwise wouldn't know. If you are participating in the event, two things here. The way I do it is I have a Google Doc, which will be down in the description. It's also in the link tree in my bio on my Instagram, and it's posted in my Facebook page and on my community tab. If for some reason you cannot find it or cannot figure out how to utilize it, please just message me. But the Google Doc, the way it works is you fill it out. It's very, very simple. And I'm not going to talk about this too long because I have an hour here and I have like 3 months worth of stuff to cover. But you fill out the Google Doc, you put your name or your handle, you put the country that you are located in, because we do have prizes available, but not everybody does them internationally. So I need to make sure that if you are somebody who is eligible for a prize, that you're eligible for the right prize. This year we have some amazing sponsors. We have Izzy over at Izzy's Diamond Shop. This is actually one of her waxes that I got from last year. It smells so good. I have a few of them on my desk, actually. This is Crazy Tea, and this is Wonderland. She is an international-based shop. She is on Etsy. I will link everybody that I'm talking about down below. So we have Izzy. We have Bella Art Day Nicole. MerryMaking Crafts. Kevin. Kevin's Creations, and then Marromy Crafts over on Instagram has generously donated a canvas to ship to somebody in the US. So if you do not fill out the Google Doc, you will not be included in the slideshows and you will not be eligible for a prize. Very simply stated. So what happens is you go through and you also give permission. This is one of the reasons I do the Google Doc. You also give permission for me to show your handle, yes or no. If you say no, then your photos and your handle will not be included in any of the slideshows. If you do win a prize and your handle is not being shown, I will contact you privately, and that'll be that. But the reason I'm not going to just go, oh, okay, I'll include so-and-so, because it has to be fair for everyone. And you have to explicitly give me permission. I've had a handful of people this year that's already said, no, please don't share my handle. And that's fair. Like, I totally understand not everybody wants other people reaching out to them or wants their handle on the internet, things like that. But for me, I need to make sure that that is something that I've been given the permission for. And I know some people out there are probably like, well, if I'm participating, then I'm giving you permission. That's not always how it works. You know, for example, I don't show my daughter on social media. Just because I go to a place that has flash photography doesn't mean I'm giving permission for them to use a picture of my daughter in their advertising. You know? So you need to fill out the Google Doc. Then you need to post your photo to your feed. To your feed, not to your story. You can share them to your story as much as you want. But I cannot go back and reference like week-old stories. And I have already sent a couple people messages asking them to either fill out the Google Doc or to post their starting photo, or both. And I know that for some people, they might find it annoying that I am saying, hey, please follow the rules. But the way it works is once you guys submit all your things, everything goes into a spreadsheet. It has a column of everybody's handles, the canvas they're working on, the country of origin, whether they give permission, yes or no. Then I go through one by one, and so far we have over 130 entries at the time of this filming, and I go one by one, and I put the start date next to the person. when they put their starting photo up. I change the color of their information if they don't give permission, and I also change the color if they have filled out the Google Doc, but I do not see their starting photo. If your page is private, please just shoot me a message, and I will make sure that I follow you back so that I can keep progress reports. This is not me doing things like in a difficult manner. This is me making sure that I'm covering all my bases so that I don't accidentally skip somebody. Because I know how bummed people would be if they participated and somehow were never included in any of the conversations, any of the slideshows, eligible for the prizes, things like that. It's something that I've been doing, and I really, unfortunately, this year, I just don't have the time to continue to chase people. So, if I've reached out to you already, that might be the last time I'm reaching out to you about it. I've also had people, and it hasn't happened to me yet, knock on wood, this year, but it has happened to me in previous years where people will go ahead and change their handle, and I don't know that. And then I can't find them anymore. Or people will put the wrong handle down, and I'll have to actually try to figure out who they are, So for me, it's one way to help me be able to manage, at this point, 130 something entries, but it's also a way to keep it safe and fair for everyone involved. So that is my little spiel. But if you would like an opportunity to be one of the showcased, profiles, and you don't even need to be somebody participating in the event to participate in this part. Like, if you are somebody who has a small business and you're like, oh, you know what? I watch Lindsay's videos all the time. I'm going to find that Easter egg and I'm going to send it to her and I can showcase my small business. That's fine too. Another thing, I've said this before and I will continue to say it. I will never, ever, ever require that you follow me or subscribe to my channel or leave comments or anything like that. It's your choice whether you want to support somebody or not. And I wholeheartedly understand that. And this is not let me beat around the bush here or anything like that. Like, there are people out there who they require everybody participating in their event follow them on Instagram or subscribe to their YouTube channel. And in all honesty, if you don't want to be here, I don't want you to be here. I want the people who want to be here to be here. And thankfully, I've got a really great array of subscribers that have been here from the beginning or from the first video they saw. They liked what they heard or saw and jumped aboard that Hot Mess Express. And you guys, I am forever grateful. So I will never make that a requirement that you follow me in order to participate in the event. Because maybe you just like Alice in Wonderland and you don't really have time to watch a bunch of YouTube videos. Maybe English isn't your first language. Maybe you don't speak English at all. And why would I require you to follow me if you can't understand my videos? Which I do put the automatic closed captioning on my videos, but I know because I've looked back at some of them that they're not always accurate. So I do apologize. But just, little things like that. I'm just here to really build the community. Find somebody who has the same canvas as you. Find somebody whose feed, the aesthetic pleases you. Whatever it may be. I want you to come out of this event having gained something, whether it be new friends or, a new diamond painting company to try or a new accessory that you purchased. And then very soon here, I will have some of the sponsors, some products from them to showcase in an upcoming video. So keep your eyes peeled for that. But without further ado, let's get into the regular WIP and Chat stuff. If you guys have been around for a while and you've, been wondering, where have you been? Oh, good. My timer stopped. All right. Well, I know I have to add that much time to it. And yes, I use a timer if anyone's new here. Okay. So where I last left you was we were heading to Disney. And I know a lot of people really want to know how the Disney trip went and have been wanting to hear an update for Disney. If you guys are new here, super Cliff's Notes version, we went to Disney around Thanksgiving this year to celebrate my daughter's 5th birthday. We had 3 park days scheduled, and a rest day scheduled, and it did not go great. I'm not going to go super in depth because like I said, I've got a lot of stuff to cover in a short amount of time. If you guys are like, Lindsay, you said that you haven't done a WIP Chat, but we saw that you did the live premiere. Yes, I did that, and I will link that up in the eye for you guys if you want that. That was a pre-recorded video I did with my husband in participation of a group event called Crafting is for Christmas. And we did a live premiere, which is we were pre-recorded, we aired it at a specific time slot, and we were live in the chat. You can go and watch the replay. You can make sure you click live chat to see everybody interacting. But that was the only video that I filmed between when we went on our Disney trip and the recent wave of unboxings that I'm starting to film and publish. So for me, our first day we did Animal Kingdom. It was all right. You know, I enjoyed a little bit of stuff. And if you are like a super Disney fan, like please do not come for me because I am one of those people. I just did not find Disney to be magical. Could it have been I was a victim of my circumstances? Absolutely. I went with my husband and my daughter. My parents were also there with us. So it was a lot of coordinating between multiple people. We had scooters on our trip, so we had to take that into consideration. I have never been to Disney. I don't know my way around Disney. I couldn't get the app to work. My husband's Magic Band never worked. It was a lot for me. I felt very overwhelmed. I felt like I didn't know how to navigate the park. I couldn't navigate the app. We were told, like, Disney is completely cashless, so all you need is your Magic Band. Well, on Animal Kingdom Day, we went. My Magic Band worked. My husband's did not. I did not know that until later in the day when he kept trying. And he didn't bring cash with him because he was told it was cashless. And it was like 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and he was like, can somebody get me a bottle of water and a snack? I am really hungry. And I think it was one of those things that he was frustrated because he had the funds for it, but he couldn't get them to work. You'd have to ask him the amount of times he went and spoke with customer service. It was a lot. They never resolved the issue. They never tried to make the issue any better. It was just a lot of back and forth, a lot of going up and down the stairs. So it was just not the ideal situation for that. We had a rest day the next day. And we went down to Disney Springs thinking, again, this is cashless. Well, thank God my husband brought his wallet because it was not cashless. And only certain things allowed us to use the Magic Band. So we tried to buy a balloon that needed actual money. I was like, oh my God, everything was a mess. Nothing went as planned. The little bit that we did get to do, my daughter thoroughly enjoyed. And when I say the little bit, it's because, super long story short, we went down and my daughter's birthday was the day before Thanksgiving. So we had our first park day, and then we had Disney Springs. We went to the pool. Okay, that was fine. My daughter was wearing one of those life vests that's provided by the hotel. And they have like the little crotch strap that goes underneath to help prevent the vest from like... If a life vest isn't properly fitted, when it goes up, it can actually like choke people, not just children. And so they had the ones that have the straps on them. We didn't know it at the time, but we later found out the strap actually left a huge cut across my daughter's groin. That was probably about 3 inches. We did not know where that came from. And then the next day was her birthday. We went to Magic Kingdom. We had an appointment at Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique at like 8:30 in the morning, which for the life of us, we could not figure out how to get into where we needed to because the park didn't open that early. And then we got stuck with a bunch of rope droppers, and they're like, oh no, this is just to rope drop. And I'm like, okay, well, I don't really know what that means. Where am I supposed to go? We eventually got in. Bibbidi Bobbidi was the highlight of our trip by far. Our daughter ended up picking an Elsa outfit out, which I am not surprised by. And after we had... If you guys don't know what Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique is, it's where they give... there's full princess makeovers. And they have little makeovers for your little guy if you want to make him over as a knight. They have a couple options for that, knight and prince. And so Briar got her Bibbidi Bobbidi for her birthday. She had no idea. It was something I really, really wanted to do. And our travel agent just kept on top of it and finally found an opening for us, which was fantastic. So she went. She had a great time. We went on a couple rides afterwards. We had a DAS pass, so we were able to set our lightning lanes, and she was able to meet Tiana, which was like meeting Tiana and getting her princess makeover were like the things that we wanted to do. So for us, that morning was really fantastic. We were able to get a couple rides in together. We were able to just do a couple things. And then my parents met us. Unfortunately, that turned out to be a very stressful situation for everybody involved. My daughter gets really overwhelmed really easily. And it was just too much. And I think it was too much for my parents to deal with her, basically, in a nutshell. My daughter, I love her to pieces, but she's a very, very difficult child. Very difficult. And I just felt like there was an immense amount of pressure on my shoulders to, well, how do we get to where you are? How do I do this? Where do I go for this? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know my way around Disney. I could not for the life of me figure out where we were going. So we ended up, I say split up, but my parents just went and sat in front of where we were meeting for lunch in a couple hours, and they just sat there while my husband, my daughter, and I rode a couple more rides. We noticed that our daughter, who never, like, naps anymore, was starting to fall asleep in the stroller, which was not like her. We went to lunch. She ended up falling asleep in the chair. And it was a character meal, and she wanted nothing to do with the characters. She just wanted to lay there. And I knew something didn't seem right, but I wasn't sure what it was. And we decided let's go back to the resort. We can all take a nap, and then we can come back in the evening. Mind you, this is my second park day. So I've had 1.5 park days of this time. We never made it back. In the middle of the night, my daughter ended up being rushed to the emergency room with 104-degree fever. Turns out that for her birthday, Disney gave her the flu. Could it have been from somebody on the plane? Sure, I don't know. Could it have been from Disney? More than likely. So we missed the rest of her birthday. And then the next day was Thanksgiving, and we missed our last park day. And obviously my main goal was to make sure my kiddo was good, and you could tell she just wasn't feeling well. And looking back at the few photos we did get, you could just see it on her face, and it was just a lot. And unfortunately, that's not really where it ends for us, because we came home, and let me see if I can, trying to adjust some of this wax here. We came home, and unfortunately she passed the flu to my husband and I, and it was brutal, and it was miserable, and I wouldn't wish it on anyone. It was just not a good time. If you guys have been here for a while, you probably know that I did not have a good year health-wise in 2022. So after we got the flu, I ended up developing a double ear infection, and I'll talk about that in a second. And then my daughter developed pink eye. And then after Christmas, I sprained my ankle. And I literally started off the year on the wrong foot, because my foot is still jacked up. I've kind of left the crutches to the side. I'll come back to that, but let's talk about the ears for a second. If you guys have been around, you've probably heard me talking about the chronic ear infections and ear pains that I dealt with in 2022. If you are new here, basically, super long story short, I got COVID last Christmas, and I've been dealing with long COVID symptoms since then. I am one of those very unfortunate people that got some weird symptoms that just don't want to go away. And for me, that has been chronic ear infections. And I have... So from December of 2021 to May of 2022, I had constant ear pain. If it wasn't ear pain, it was ear pressure. If it wasn't ear pressure, it was ear pain. I maybe would get a couple days in between where I wasn't in searing pain, but never enough to be like, oh yeah, my ears don't hurt anymore. So fast forward, and anytime I got any really bad sickness, any cold, flu, anything like that, all of the fluid backs up into my ears. It's just how it's been happening. I never had ear infections prior to COVID. And I later found out from one of the ENTs that I saw that she also developed ear infections after having COVID. But for her, taking an allergy medication and nasal spray combination was enough to help alleviate it for her. It was not for me. So let me take a sip here. I have one of those giant Stanley cups, and they're totally worth it. They're ridiculous. They're overpriced, but they're worth it. So anyway, I ended up in urgent care because I was having so much pain in my ears, and it was like unbearable. And this was, I guess, this is now December, I guess. Everything is just blending together, you guys. So I went and I saw urgent care, and they confirmed that I had an ear infection. At that time, it was in my left ear. So I called the ENT office that I had previously seen, and I said, look, I desperately need to get in. I need relief. Being put on antibiotics is just not cutting it anymore. It never cut it, I should say. I don't know if my head was just in camera there or not. If it was, hey. But anyway, they told me, well, we're not going to be able to get you in until next year. And I was like, you know, this is the problem with certain things in healthcare. And before I complain about this, like, I'm well aware that there are nursing shortages, doctor shortages, things like that. And that's not where I'm going with this. But have you ever tried to make an appointment when you're really sick with something and they say, oh, well, we can't get you in for a month? Well, in a month, you're probably not going to still have that pain, that injury, that whatever it is you're calling about. So for me, knowing that I had already been dealing with months and months and months of ear infections and ear pain, I was like, that's not going to cut it. So they got me a spot on their cancellation list. I went in, I saw the physician's assistant who I had seen previously, and she had confirmed that I had a double ear infection. If you guys are hearing any noise in the background, that's my husband. He just walked in like a minute ago. He's filling his water bottle. Say hi, husband. Hello. You guys probably couldn't hear him. But, so she put me on another round of antibiotics. And at this point, I have now been on 5 rounds of antibiotics. This is between February and December of 2022. 5 rounds of antibiotics, 2 rounds of steroids, an allergy medication, a nasal spray, an allergy nasal spray. And nothing was working. So she said, let's go ahead and let's move forward with getting you tubes. So I was like, all right, let's do this. I was told that tubes for adults are a quick and painless procedure that is done in office, which I severely question, because if it's so quick and painless, then how come kids get it done in the operating room under anesthesia? And I was told, well, adults are able to sit still for it. And I'm like, okay. So I go in for the appointment. The doctor looks in my ears. I'm going to give you guys the super abbreviated version of this because, again, I still have a lot to cover and nobody wants to hear a half hour about my ear infections. So he informs me that at that time, I don't have any infection in my ear. And I was like, okay, well, your PA and urgent care confirmed like last week that I did indeed have an ear infection. So they go through the process to numb me, which was incredibly uncomfortable and painful, not quick and painless like I was told. He lays me down on the table. I'm incredibly uncomfortable. I express that I'm uncomfortable. And they get kind of snooty with me, as in like, well, what do you want us to do about it? If you guys hear that in the background, it's just my husband's got some power tools out.
Building a shed.
You're building a shed?
Yeah.
Okay. Are you really? No, you're working a pop.
I'm not building a shed.
Okay. Anyway, so they get me on the table. I am incredibly uncomfortable. I think this is a generalization here, but I think that I am more sensitive to pain than the average typical person. I'm not saying that I don't handle pain, but I feel like things that a lot of other people don't find painful, I do. This was super, super traumatic for me, you guys. So, they go ahead, they make the incision in my ear, and then he decides that I'm in too much distress for him to put the actual tube in. So he numbed my ear, did all the stuff, was poking around, made a hole in my eardrum, and then refused to put the tube in. So needless to say, I was very upset because I was like, why can't we just finish it? Like, if you want to schedule the other one in the operating room, fine, but you're already here, just finish the job. And super long story short, I had let him know because he asked me something about contacting my primary care physician to put together a care plan for afterwards. And I said, absolutely do not do that. I don't give you permission to speak with him about my health records. Like, I am not consenting to this because I think I've mentioned it on the channel before. My primary care doctor, well, first of all, he doesn't appreciate the fact that I'm a woman, but he has a huge problem with my weight and my anxiety. And like, even when I went to him in tears with an active ear infection, he was like, well, I just want to talk about, you need to take care of this and you need to do this. And I was like, okay, great, cool. But can we talk about my ears? And he didn't care. And at that point, I was on month 3 of constant ear pain, and he literally just wrote me like a prescription for these eardrops to just basically shut me up. And long story short, the ENT contacted my doctor, and the two of them decided, well, clearly her mental health is not where it should be, which, like, you're an ENT, bro. You don't have the right to tell me what I can and cannot do with anything outside of my ear, nose, or throat. But they decided that I needed to, like, cure my anxiety before they would even consider moving forward with the tubes. Which, like, I'm not a doctor, but if somebody's been dealing with pain in a certain part of their body for over a year, do you think maybe that might be causing them some stress and anxiety? Like, or some of the depression might be linked to constant pain and chronic illness? Like, do you think maybe those things are related? But they decided that because I wasn't going to go and cure my anxiety, which, like, you can't cure it. And also, like, who's one to measure how well it's treated or not treated? They decided that I was no longer a fit, and I was no longer welcome at this ENT's office. And without saying the exact words, they completely implied that all of this was fabricated and that I was making it up and that I was just being a hysterical woman. Which, like, if you're gonna fake an illness, why would you fake one that any doctor's office can, like, look inside your ear and see if it's infected or not? Like, it's not something that's invasive. Like, every doctor's office, like, our GI doctor has the stuff to look into your ears. Your GI tract isn't related to your ears, but he can still look into my ears and see, you know, like, so I'm a little bit stressed because I've been fighting really hard. You know, they always say you have to advocate for yourself, but, like, at what point do you give up because nobody wants to listen to you or believe you or even care that you are sick or in pain or whatever it may be? So for me, it's just been really super stressful because anytime, like, we had the flu And that's what led to me getting another ear infection. And not because I had the flu, but because I had fluid backed up in my face from like the sinus pressure and stuff like that. And it just backed into my ear. And so now I'm back at square one, and I don't have an ENT that I can speak to. I don't have a primary care doctor that cares. So it's been tough. And then my daughter got a pink eye, and I was like, great, cool. Like, stay away from me, kid. Like, I love you, but I get allergy-induced conjunctivitis. If I'm around a dog, a cat, pets in general, it's almost guaranteed that the next morning my eyes will have to like be pried open. And it is what it is. I am on an allergy regimen. Like, I take an allergy med that's prescribed by my doctor, and I take a Zyrtec, and I have sprays available to me, but this is just how my body reacts to the allergens. And it is what it is, and I'm used to it. I've been dealing with that for, honestly, decades. And thankfully, we were able to control hers pretty well. We kept her out of school for a couple days because, obviously, pink eye is super, what's the word I'm thinking of? Contagious? There we go. So, it was stressful. I feel like I want to work on another color right now. These ABs are not giving me life. Grab some more water. So, after... Where are all my other trays? Oh, I think they're all in my bag. I got to do something super fun, you guys. I got to go... excuse me, to Erica of Kevin and Erica of Kevin's Creations. I got to go to her house and diamond paint with her the one day. And we diamond painted, and we, well, I shouldn't say we. She baked cookies. I ate cookies. There's a giant piece of wax in here. Whatever. So we're just going to go with it.
It's important, or else you have no reason to make cookies.
What? What'd you say?
I said that's equally as important, or else you'd have no reason to make cookies.
Well, I'm sure that she could bake cookies without me being there, but a couple years ago, I used to go over there and help out with, like, Christmas cookies, and she's like, do you mind if they're not Christmas cookies? I was like, shit, I don't care if they're, like, whatever kind of cookies they are. So we ended up making oatmeal chocolate chip. Oatmeal raisin are the devil. I hate raisins. I hate raisins. But anyway... Not the point. So, that was super fun, and I plan on doing it again. Would anybody be interested if I dragged Erica into a live with me on YouTube? If you guys would like to see that, let me know down below. But, we had a great time, and I realized, this is how I know I'm getting older. For all you young people out there, if you have parents, grandparents... aunts, uncles in your life, and they tell you that without your health, you have nothing in this life, listen to them. Because my dad has been saying that to me for as long as I can remember. And all of a sudden, like, literally, I turned 40, and my body's just like, nah, fam. It wants to have problems all the time. And now my newest thing is I'm very excited. I ordered one of those, like, ergonomical butt pillows. I guess we've upgraded from the donut pillows. Because every time I sit in a chair, my tailbone hurts, and it's, like, difficult for me to actually, like, get up, which, nobody wants that, so, but I sat on a hard chair at her house, and she was like, I'm sorry, and then we realized, like, oh, there's a cushion I could use, so that kind of inspired me to be like, you know what, I'm gonna go look, and I got a targeted ad on Instagram. What can I say? Sorry, I am pulling out... oh, I don't think I even told you guys what this is. This is Alice and Roses by Margaret Morales. It is a DIY moon shop, or dye moon shop. I did pay for the special treatment, so this is a 310 AB, although they call it Prism. And then this is Chili, which is no longer called Chili, but it's 666 AB. Because I actually emailed them. And then there's a red crystal, which is... So Chili was named Blood, but this is called Blood, so I don't know. If I'm going to order additional special drills, I'll order them from a US based company so that I don't have to pay like that shipping price. But I am currently working on the corner here. I've only worked on this for one day. And yes, if you're watching this and you're like, you've only worked on your own event for that. Yes, I have. I've had so much going on. Now that my kiddo is back in school, my struggle has been, how do I find enough time in the day to get done all of the things that need to be done, like in my real life, you know, like grocery shopping or running errands or anything like that, and how do I juggle that with the time that my kid is in school. If you guys didn't know, she goes to school 3 days a week, but it's only for like 3 hours. So it's not like I'm sitting at home with all this time on my hands to get things accomplished. I'm like literally struggling to find time to do anything. And then I'll have days where I'll come up and I'll work on diamond painting stuff while she's at school because I won't be able to work on it during my normal time frame, which I work when my daughter is sleeping or supposed to be sleeping. So I normally work over my kiddo's nap and then after she goes to bed. But besides the fact that I have just been absolutely depleted of energy and like mental strength, because it is always okay to not be okay, friends. Like, telling you that as somebody who has been dealing with a lot, it's always okay to not be okay. And it's always okay to reach out for help. And it's never a bad thing to ask for help or to speak up or anything like that. But I just am struggling to find the right kind of schedule. And then our kiddo, she figure skates 3+ days a week now. So Mondays we usually take her after school for a public skate. That's during her nap time, so I never get anything done during Monday night naps or Monday naps. And then Tuesdays she has group lessons in the morning, so unless we do something else after ice skating, Tuesdays is usually a workable day for me. Fridays, we have private lessons, again, during her nap. So if she goes ice skating anytime outside of Tuesday tots, it's during time that I would normally be working. So it's a little frustrating, trying to figure out the right balance. And on top of it, I'm also running an event, so I have to make sure I'm good with that. But my daughter's been asking me for over a year to go ice skating with her. And it's been like 22-ish years since I was last on a pair of ice skates. And so I finally went with her. It was right after Christmas. The one rink we do public skate at, they had so many hours of public skate because everybody was off of school and work, and it's, you know, an affordable thing to do with a group of friends. So I went with my daughter. I got my skates, and I did pretty well. I skated for about an hour, and I am literally stepping off the ice going, oh my God, I'm so proud of myself. Look at me. I did this for a whole hour. Boom, I fell. Twisted my ankle. Immediately was like, oh shit. This one guy's like, are you okay? And I was like, I am not. I just need a minute. And he's like, can I help you with your skates? And I was like, sure. This gentleman got like on the floor on his hands and knees and he undid my skates for me. And he's like, did you want me to return them? And I was like, sure. Like, I'm not gonna. So I hobbled to the car. And my daughter goes, Daddy, maybe we should take Mommy to the hospital. And I was like, you know what, kid? I think that's a good idea. Where we went, and then he dropped me off at the hospital because we were now at, like, my kiddo's, it was past her dinner time, and it was almost bedtime, and I didn't want her sitting in an emergency room with us for hours and hours with, like, actual sick people. And he took her home and they x-rayed and everything was good. And I will tell you, those skates did exactly what they were supposed to do. They held everything where it needed to be. So I'm very thankful for that because I did not break anything. you know, they told me I sprained an ankle. I'm not 100% sold that I didn't, like, do a little bit more damage to, like, a tendon or ligament or something there, because it's not my ankle that really hurts. It's more of my Achilles, and then, like, the right side. Yep, if you're looking at that, you definitely just saw me make the L for left to figure out which side. The right side of my, like, the outside of my right foot. But I am now off the crutches. Honestly, I wasn't on them as much as I should have been, because being my age and my weight, crutches were not easy to navigate. I was on crutches for almost 7 months when I was in high school. But I was 17 and I was like, you know, 100 and something pounds just bouncing around. Now I'm significantly more than that, and much, much older than that as well. So, but in case anyone is curious, yes, I would get back out there with her again. Obviously not right this second, because I am waiting for my foot to heal. But I was proud of myself, and my husband was impressed. He was like, wow, you actually did pretty good. And I was like, thanks, ye of little faith. He was just more worried I was going to hurt myself, and then I hurt myself. But I think he thought I was going to hurt myself worse than I did. No. I thought he was going to make a comment there. But that's basically how we spent 2022, the end of it. I am not one of those people that makes resolutions. Me, personally, I feel like that's a really good way to set myself up for failure. Or, you know, to be upset that I couldn't maintain something. So instead, I like the ideas or concepts of, like, let's set a word for the year, or a theme for the year, or maybe even a small goal. But for me, I am not, like, I did not walk into 2023 with my arms out going, this is going to be my year. I just want 2023 to be kinder to me than 2022 was. And I want to feel like I can make it through the year without just surviving. I don't want to thrive. I just want to exist. I want mediocrity. Like, I just want this year to be less sick, less painful than last year. So I don't want to set any big goals, and I don't want this to be the year of Lindsay. Like, if it is the year of Lindsay, like, cool, but, like, that's not what I'm striving for. I'm just striving to make it through. Like, I'll even settle for, like, coasting through 2023. But, if you guys are resolution people, let me know down below what yours are. I'm just excited. I put away my previous canvas, so if anyone's curious, no, I did not finish the Lullaby Dragon from Enabler's Outpost. In all honesty, I didn't diamond paint for like 6 weeks. Besides the health stuff, I've just been exhausted and just not been able, I really am struggling to figure out how to coordinate my time better. And, you know, it's just been. I'd like this year to also be a year where I can actually, like, I don't know, spend some quality time with my husband and go on a real date and, you know, things like that. But we've got our daughter's kindergarten transition meeting for her IEP coming up, which blows my mind because it's literally January and she is in pre-K. But I understand the point of it because if kids need to be evaluated by the school, I forget how many kids they said they have going into kindergarten through the IU. I think it was 900 and something kids. Like, that's a lot. That's a lot of people. Even if only half of them need an evaluation, that's still 450 kids, you know? So, obviously I want to make sure that my daughter's IEP is going to work for her in kindergarten and not, something that they want to change to something else. But, you know, I sit here and I watch my daughter's excitement for learning, but I also watch how much she struggles. So I don't know if the next step is, do we push for more, like, learning disability testing, or just kind of put her in kindergarten and see how it goes? But everything has such long waits. Like, everything has waits. So I don't know. I just, like, these are the things that go on in my mind all the time, besides keeping track of obviously the regular schedule of school. Does she have to bring anything into school? Does she have to wear a certain color or theme to school? Like all that stuff. Plus I have all of the ice skating stuff that I have to coordinate, and any other thing. Like she's starting basketball up again next month. It's literally 4 sessions, so it's not like anything really hard hitting or difficult to keep track of, but it's still something that weighs on my mind. And if you were listening to me talk about my primary care earlier and going like, there's no way, like he literally, if you are the primary parent in your household, you understand the concept of the mental load. Even if you're not the primary parent, if you're a parent in general, you understand the concept of the mental load. And just the things that are on it. Like, did we pay this bill? When is this bill due? Is tuition been paid? Has the activities been paid for? Do we need to get gas in the car? Like, you know, my husband and I just took care of a huge thing with our car. And like, that was something that was plaguing on my mind. Because it was like, we had to figure out, coordinate the time and like the money and the rental car. It was just a shit show. Thankfully. Thank God. Huge shout out to Brandon's. If you guys are located in Central PA, Brandon's Auto Body in Grantville, 2 thumbs up to them because they are amazing and they took huge care of us. And like, they don't even know I exist. Like, they know who Lindsay is. They have no idea who Life.W.Lindsay is. You know what I mean? But shout out to them because they did for us what Kia wouldn't do, which was basically take care of my car. That's a whole other story. But my primary care doctor, like, when we were talking about, he's like, you seem really anxious. And I was like, good call. He was like, well, if you just stopped worrying. And I was like, oh, yes. Because that's worked for so many people with anxiety in this world. Just don't worry and it'll go away. So when I was talking about, like, I can't just not worry about things. Like, I have a lot on my mental load. And he's like, well, just don't think about them. And I looked him dead in the eye. And this was earlier, or I guess last year at this point. And I even said to him, and I said, so are you going to come over to my house and do my laundry? And he looked at me, he's like, what? Oh, you don't want me to think about it. You don't want me to worry about it. Just keep going. But I have to think about it because, like, I can't start a load of laundry if we're going to be out of the house for 2 days. Because then I'm going to have to rewash the laundry. These are things that go through the head of the people coordinating. Like my husband, he takes care of like the meal planning and stuff like that. So all of that is on his plan. Like he's thinking about those things. It just frustrates me. But my daughter just went back to school from her little winter break. The last day of school that was scheduled in December, they were supposed to have a holiday party, which they never got to have because they canceled school because of inclement weather. And she was so upset because we made little dreidel packs to send to all of the kids and all of the teachers. And for anyone who's curious, what we did was I bought a giant bag of dreidels. In this case, I bought 100 dreidels. And I ended up going on the internet because it didn't come with the cards that it said it was supposed to. And I just made, like, in PixArt or Canva or one of them, I just copied the image over and over and over again. And I think I fit 6 on a sheet. And then I printed 6 of those sheets. So I had 36 of these cards. And I put a dreidel in a little tiny Ziploc bag, sealed it off, stapled the card to it. I wonder if that's why I didn't have as many bags last time I kitted down. Did I use those bags? I probably did. I can't even remember now. How are we on time? Okay. Whew. You guys. So, we gave them to her classmates and her teachers when we went back. I'm sure that, you know, a good chunk of those kids, like their families, probably looked at it and threw it in a drawer, tossed it, whatever, never to be seen again. But I had one teacher thank me for giving them out because she lived in an area where a lot of her friends celebrated Hanukkah and she hadn't played dreidel in many, many years. And I had another parent message me telling me that like their kid's been walking around like with the dreidel in their pocket for like days now. And it just makes me, it makes me happy because I live in an area, if you guys did not know this, there's like no Jewish population, a very, very small Jewish population. And I am a firm believer of like, if we want to raise our kids, we want to raise this generation to be better than the next. We want them to be more well-rounded adults. They need to learn more than what's in the 4 walls of their home. And if that means I'm going to have to teach my kid about things that the schools won't, like, so be it. But I think it's really important, especially in the winter when you're acknowledging Christmas, everything, that we acknowledge that there's other things that exist. And if a little plastic dreidel can be a conversation starter for people in their homes, then it's totally worth it. And if it's just a piece of junk that someone tossed away, you know, it is what it is. And I did my part to help reach more people. So we gave that back to her when she went back this month. But we did a super last minute trip to Nickelodeon Universe in the American Dream Mall. If you guys are located anywhere within, a couple hour drive, it's the same amusement park that is inside of Mall of America. It's owned by the same company, but it is a Nickelodeon themed amusement park inside of a mall. But this mall also happened to have indoor skiing, which I have a picture and I'll put it here so you guys can see. Just FYI, like when I say I'm going to put a picture up like that's definitely not your Easter egg. But my daughter was really enthralled watching the people skiing and snowboarding while she was eating dinner. There's an entire water park inside the mall. It's insane how much is in there. And for us, it's a 2.5 hour drive. So for us, we did one night. We stayed at a different hotel than the one we normally stay at because they were sold out. That will not happen again because that hotel ended up costing me more money in the end, and it was mediocre. Like, I found a used toothbrush in the corner of the room. I was like, that's gross. It just some things that were a little bit more questionable. They had a better breakfast option at that hotel, but it is what it is. And then my husband and I was like, ooh, I had two choices of a hotel to stay at. Like I said, our normal one was booked up. And I was like, well, this one has a pool and this one doesn't. And he was like, what's the difference in price? I was like $5. He's like, all right. So we booked the one with a pool. And then we're driving in the car and I just looked at him and he goes, what? And I go, I forgot to put her swimsuit in there. And he's like, stop. So I had our swimsuits, but I forgot hers. And I was like, well,
She could have used mine.
She couldn't have used yours. She wouldn't have even fit in the sleeve of yours. So she didn't even know there was a pool there. In all honesty, I don't even know where the pool was. But it was pretty mediocre. I would not stay. Oh, she's yelling.
Oh, that's on your... Wait, is that on this? God damn it. I went in there before I came up.
That's her on the monitor.
I was like, calm down, blah, blah, blah. And I thought
she was really, really quiet. That's the first time I've heard her since I've been recording, and I've been recording for almost an hour. Which, oh my gosh, I'm almost at the hour point, you guys. So my goal for the upcoming weeks is to get back to a point where I can regularly record WIP and Chats again. Huge thank you to everyone who has reached out and checked in on me.
Can we go sleepies?
Oh, he's talking to her. And I really do appreciate it. And I appreciate it more than you guys will ever know,
hey, just
in all honesty.
Doesn't mean I can't see you.
She's at that stage
also,
right now where she, I'm going to, hold on. Sorry, if that felt disjointed, my husband ended up having like a whole conversation with my daughter on the monitor, and I thought it would be easier for you guys to not have to fight to hear me over him over her. So, I don't even know where I was. I don't even remember where I was. Oh, thank you to everyone who reached out. So, I finally got some content filmed. I've got a couple unboxings filmed that are going to go up on the channel. As I mentioned, I have a small shop event haul coming with a couple of our event sponsors. Again, huge thank you to everybody who is sponsoring the event. All of their information is down below, as I mentioned earlier in the video. If you would like to go ahead and purchase any of the products that they have, please go and support them. But my goal is to just try to be up here more often. And by up here, I mean like my craft space, because I'm just really struggling to find the motivation and the time and the energy. And then if I do have time, sometimes I just don't have the energy to do it. And then I, go through all of that. Awesome. I can hear the new dog barking. If you guys follow the Crazy Carla neighbor update, she got a new dog. But I think this is a good place for me to end. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. We got a decent amount accomplished. There's a ton of confetti in this canvas. And if you know me, I'm much more team color blocking. But that's it. That's all I got for you guys for this one. Thank you so much for sticking it out with me, and if you are watching this video and you've made it all the way to the end, please leave me some sort of heart emoji. It doesn't matter which one it is, doesn't matter what color it is, but just lets me know that you've made it all the way to the end. I truly, truly, truly love each and every one of you, and your support means more to me than you guys will ever know. But I'm going to get out of here. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you give this video 2 thumbs up. One real life, one virtual. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. Come, join the Sparkle Squad. And while you're there, hit that notification bell.
Yay.
I know it's been missed by many. I do not operate on any sort of schedule. As I mentioned, I operate on toddler standard time. And I record when my tiny human is sleeping or sleeping, like tonight. Thank you guys so much for being here, and I'll see you on my next one. Bye, guys!